Government Order of the Day number 2.
Taxation Bright Line Test for Residential Land Bill, third reading.
I call the Honourable Todd McLeay.
Mr Speaker, thank you. I move that the Taxation Bright Line Test for Residential Land Bill be now read a third time. The changes in this bill were announced by the Government in Budget 2015 as part of a package of proposals to improve compliance with the current land rules, sale rules, and to help ensure that people pay their fair share of tax on gains from those property sales. Detailed proposals were released for public feedback in June, which has helped shape these measures proposed in the bill. Mr Speaker, the centrepiece is a new Bright Line test to supplement the current intention test in the Income Tax Act and make it clear that income tax must be paid on any gains from residential property purchased and sold within 2 years. After the 2-year period, the current intention test will remain. This means where somebody buys property with the intention of making a profit, they must pay income tax on that gain. Inland Revenue will be watching transactions as part of the requirement to provide IRD numbers at the time of sale. This will allow them to enforce income tax rules against those who might try to avoid their obligations outside of the 2-year period. Mr Speaker, the Government has provided Inland Revenue with $29 million in Budget 2015 to focus on property tax compliance. In total, they have $62 million over 5 years, which is expected to generate an additional $420 million of property-related tax revenue. There is likely to be up to an additional 100 compliance officers if part of the property compliance team. Mr Speaker, the only exceptions to the Bright Line test are as follows: an owner's own home, inherited property, or property transferred in a relationship statement. Furthermore, the proposed test will only apply to the disposal of residential land and not to business premises or farmland. It also clearly identifies the start and end of the 2-year Bright Line period. The proposed tests will apply to the gains from residential property acquired on or after 1 October 2015 and disposed of within 2 years. These are the main provisions in the bill. What we have is a straightforward, easy-to-enforce rule that will help improve compliance with tax rules for land sales and make the tax system fairer. As always, Mr Speaker, I'm grateful for the efforts of all those who have contributed towards the successful package of this bill so far. My thanks to officials who have worked on the policy development of this proposal in the bill and the drafters who worked on the detail of the draft legislation. I also want to thank those who made submissions, both in the earlier period and on the bill, to improve its application in practice. And finally, Mr Speaker, I want to thank the committee for its consideration of the proposed measures and recommendations to improve them overall. As the bill now stands, we have a very practical mechanism for achieving greater fairness and transparency across the House. Mr Speaker, as unusual it is, I want to thank Clayton Cosgrove for also deciding, while speaking heavily against this bill, to vote for it. And I look forward to the party vote to confirm that. I have great pleasure in commending the Taxation Bright Line Test and for Residential Land Bill to the House.
Mr Speaker.
The Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Mr Speaker.